Vancouver Canucks' 6th overall draft pick in 2014, Jake Virtanen, is in some questionable circumstances right now. A quote that has recently come out of the press. Jake Virtanen says about his AHL stint, "I don't know exactly what the plan is. They didn't really communicate with me as much. I honestly have no idea, to be honest. I actually still don't understand that, really." Basically, Jake Virtanen was sent to the NHL, and he is complaining that he doesn't know what direction the team wants him to go in. He says the Canucks didn't communicate with him well in terms of what his direction is, what the team is expecting out of him. But it's kind of weird because Benning and Linden did come out earlier, and they did say, yeah, we sat down and talked with Jake for a bit, and we told him the direction that we believe he's going to go in. So, really, this is just a big mess of a relationship between a player and a management going on right now. Things are looking grim for Jake Virtanen, and we don't even know what direction he will go in. He's not a good player, which is why he was sent down to the AHL in the first place. You see how Canucks fans cheered when Virtanen was sent down to the AHL. You see how they complained when he was brought back after 2 games. And how everyone is saying, yes, thank goodness he's going back for his second run in the AHL, because this is what he actually needs. Because Jake Virtanen, he is not that good of a player in the NHL as of right now. There has been lots of controversy around Virtanen, a lot of trade talk. He's unhappy and he has bad morale. Basically, the whole story is going down right now is that if Jake Virtanen wasn't a Canucks fan growing up, he would have asked for a trade by now. It's probably like that if you take a look at it, because, you know, Jake Virtanen, he's born in, 1996, something like that? And, you know, kids growing up in 1996, they grow up, they watch these guys like Linden on the TV because, you know, he's for Abbotsford. He's a Canucks fan growing up, and now that he's finally on the Canucks, it's great for him, but the team is just not looking good for him right now. It's looking like he's going to be a Cody Hodgson number 2, and it's a shame to say that because Cody Hodgson recently retired. I believe he's doing, he's coaching some like minor midgets or whatever, in Nashville, something like that. But Jake Virtanen in his current AHL stint, 2 assists in 7 games. He's really not improving his game, at least according to the numbers. I don't know how he's playing down there. We're gonna have to get some opinions from avid watchers of the Utica Comets to say that, but as of right now, Jake Virtanen is in some questionable circumstances. Drafted 6th overall in 2014, I'm proposing the question, what if the Canucks didn't draft Virtanen? That is what I'm trying to ask here. What if the Canucks didn't draft Jake Virtanen? Let's take a look at the players that came after 6th overall pick Jake Virtanen. The big 2 that everyone was talking about during this draft was, they didn't take William Nylander. They didn't take Nikolai Ehlers. Nylander is doing amazing with Toronto right now. He's got 15 points. Last year, he kind of did light it up in those little games that he spent playing with the Maple Leafs, trying to spice things up to the end of the season. And Nikolai Ehlers, oh my goodness, the Jets are on fire right now. 19 points for Ehlers. Scheifele and Laine are doing great things as well. Ehlers is just meshing in amazingly with that. Another player I'd like to look at is Dylan Larkin. Now, Dylan Larkin was drafted, I think it was 12th by Detroit, but recently there were reports that were coming out saying that the Canucks were actually interested in Larkin at 6th overall, and this hurts because it kind of implies that the owners or whoever, they were the ones who really wanted the hometown boy Virtanen. And taking a look at that, would you rather have Jake Virtanen, who is struggling in the AHL, or Dylan Larkin, the arguable franchise talent, has the record for the fastest skater? He's an amazing player to watch, he's hardworking, he can do things with the puck. It's a shame to know that they were interested in Larkin, but they chose Virtanen instead. This is not a hate rant on Virtanen, because I want the kid to succeed. It's just that he's not succeeding right now, and we don't know if he actually will succeed, according to the pace that he's going at right now. Taking a look at other players, there was Hayden Flurry, who was drafted immediately 7th overall after Virtanen. He's a promising defenseman, and he's one of those guys with Carolina who, you take a look at their prospect pool on defense, and you say, oh my goodness, they got Hanifin, they got Flurry, Falk, these are young guys. Then, they got all these good defensemen in their system. Nick Schmaltz is another player that was drafted a bit later into the first round. He was Besser's former line mate with the North Dakota Fighting Sioux, and he's now playing with Chicago in a bottom 6 role, so that's really nice. Nick Schmaltz, man, I really would have loved it if Schmaltz defected Chicago and came to Vancouver. But another name that I actually want to talk about in this first round is the player that came immediately after Jared McCann, David Pastrnak. And the reason I want to talk about him is because he's doing amazingly well. He's tearing it up with the Bruins. He's a point-per-game player this year. He's got 13 goals. He's the sole leader of second in the league for goals. The only player who has more goals right now than David Pastrnak is Sidney Crosby. And Pastrnak has more goals than Scheifele, Line, Ovechkin, Michael Grabner. Okay, Michael Grabner, he's got 12 goals. He's tied for 3rd. I'm actually pretty happy about that. Kucherov, Hossa, McDavid. You got Pastrnak, who's tearing it up. He's really young, and it's a shame because Jake Virtanen was taken before him. Come to think of it, the 2014 draft wasn't really that good for the Canucks in the first round. You got Jake Virtanen. We all know where he is right now. He's in the AHL. And Jared McCann is another name that we got. He really was decent last year. He kind of dropped off a little bit, started doing poorly, got traded to Florida, and now the Florida Panthers fans are kind of saying that he's not doing that well. Of course, we got ourselves Eric Goodbranson in return, which is cool. I like having Goodbranson. He's not really doing that well, but he's semi-reliable, I guess. The second round of the 2014 draft, though, that was okay. We got Thatcher Demko, then we followed that up with Triamkin, Gustav Forsling, who's actually doing very well, and I'm kind of disappointed we traded him for Adam Clendening. Oh boy. Kyle Pettit is looking a little bit promising, won the best defensive forward in the OHL some time ago, something like that, on his conference or whatever. Then we got Mckenzie Stewart. So, the main topic of this video, what if the Canucks did not draft Virtanen? What if they drafted the other players mentioned before? What if the Canucks drafted William Nylander? He's a Swedish winger, centerman, he can play the center position, he can play on the wing. If the Canucks drafted Nylander, I'd like to think William Nylander, Sedin would be the first line right now. How fantastic would that be? Oh, the Swedes, the yellow, the blue, and the red hair, all combining together. I know William Nylander's a blonde. They would have been, they just would have clicked. Nylander is a great player right now. What if the Canucks drafted Nikolai Ehlers or David Pastrnak? Hard-working, versatile wingers who are tearing it up right now. How would they be with the Canucks instead of Jake Virtanen? What if the Canucks drafted Dylan Larkin? They drafted Dylan Larkin. By this point, the number 1 center of the future is already established, and Bo Horvat will be the 1B. That would have been a great sight to watch. Imagine this center core in the future. Larkin is the 1 franchise center for the Canucks. The 1B is Bo Horvat. Then the 3rd line center, I don't know, we can have Adam Gaudette, throw him in there. And then the 4th line center, I don't know, Mike Zalewski, something like that. That would have been amazing. Dylan Larkin, how would he have affected this team if he was drafted? Then we also got ourselves Hayden Flurry, who I actually am very much a fan of. He's an elite defenseman in the making. If the Canucks drafted him, he would have been tearing it up in the future with Yolivi, Hutton, Goodbranson, Triamkin. Man, it's just bad, and it's just frustrating to look at the possibilities and think, what if the Canucks chose somebody else other than Virtanen? Hell, what if the Canucks chose somebody else other than Cody Hodgson a few years ago? There were so many different players that would have been better with the Canucks than Virtanen right now, and it's a shame that Jake Virtanen is in the position he is in currently. He's a big body, He couldn't control the play when he was with the Canucks, but that's what he could do with the Calgary Hitmen. That's why he was rated so high. He was the pure power forward who could come in, he could score some great goals where he's moving around through people, he could move bodies, he could shift his way through the play, and he couldn't really translate that pure power forward Todd Bertuzzi-like style into professional hockey. He's down in the AHL, so all we can do is hope for the best, and just really put our minds into it and focus on the good. Because by the time Virtanen is an established NHLer, the times of us thinking, wow, what if we drafted somebody else, those should be gone. Because we really should just be appreciating what we have and not trying to compare with the other guys we could have gotten. Because hands down, Nylander, Ehlers, Larkin, Hayden Flurry, Schmaltz, Pasternak, who else? Nick Ritchie, Perlini, Verana, Honka, all these guys would have been so much better than Virtanen right now. But what we got is Jake Virtanen, and what we can do is hope for a good, developing Virtanen. But of course, it doesn't look like that's happening now. Virtanen says that he doesn't know what the plan is, and he says that the Canucks didn't tell him what the plan is, so that's just some great communication for the Canucks' relationship with Jake Virtanen. Hope you guys enjoyed. This was your Passing Synopsis Trolls like last year. I was playing gaming, and bye.